You don't find happiness by chasing it. That's the great trap, believing that if you just try a little harder, achieve a little more, or fix one more thing in your life, then finally you'll be happy. But the truth is, happiness doesn't respond to direct effort. It's not a reward for effort or ambition. You can't force happiness to arrive by doing more, acquiring more, or pleasing others. In fact, most of what we do in the name of happiness only takes us further from it, because we're chasing an illusion. We're trying to fill a hole that can't be filled with noise, distraction, or validation. Happiness isn't something you reach for. It's something you uncover when you stop reaching. It's what's left when you take away everything that disturbs your inner stillness. It's not the end of a journey, it's the place you return to when the noise dies down. And the biggest noise, the one we rarely want to face, is pain, deep emotional pain, the kind that comes from holding on to people who hurt us, situations that drain us, and identities that no longer fit. You can't heal while holding hands with the one who hurt you. That might sound poetic, but it's deeply practical. Healing requires space, clarity, detachment. But most people try to heal in the middle of the battlefield. They want closure from the very person who opened the wound. They want understanding from the one who misunderstood them. They stay connected mentally, emotionally, digitally to the source of their suffering, hoping that proximity will bring peace. But it doesn't work like that. Healing isn't something that happens in the presence of the wound. It happens in the absence of re-injury. If someone made you feel small, dismissed, unloved, or unsafe, staying close to them in any form is like trying to put out a fire with gasoline. The ego might crave closure, but the soul craves freedom, and freedom starts with distance, emotional, mental, and sometimes physical. What keeps us stuck isn't just the pain, it's the belief that we need something from the person who gave it to us. We think we need an apology, an explanation, a sign that they've changed, but healing isn't about them. It never was. Healing begins the moment you decide to stop waiting for someone else to make it right and instead choose to make yourself whole. That doesn't mean you forget what happened. It means you no longer use it as a reference point for your self-worth. It means you stop defining your value by how someone else treated you. And it means you stop replaying the same story in your head, the one where you weren't enough, the one where you messed up, the one where you lost something that was never really yours. The deeper truth is, happiness and healing are not destinations. They are states of being that emerge when you align with truth, your truth. They require letting go of the illusion that the past could have been different, letting go of people who refuse to grow, letting go of the need to be understood by those committed to misunderstanding you. And yes, letting go is painful, but it's not as painful as holding on, because when you hold on to the source of your pain, you keep the wound open. You keep feeding it your energy, your attention, your identity. You stay in the loop. You keep hurting yourself with your own memory. But when you finally step away, truly step away, you begin to see that your peace was never in their hands. It was always within your reach. You just had to stop reaching for them to find it. Happiness isn't found in fixing broken relationships. It's found in repairing your relationship with yourself. It's found in choosing yourself when others won't. In walking away when staying costs you your soul. In saying no even when it breaks your heart, because saying yes would break you even more. You don't find happiness by chasing it. You find it when you stop chasing people, approval, and closure and start choosing silence, self-respect, and space. Let go, not because they deserve it, but because you do, because your peace matters, because your healing matters, and because real happiness only visits those who are finally willing to sit alone and no longer afraid of what they'll find. You don't build wealth by chasing money. That's one of the most misunderstood truths in the world today. Most people spend their entire lives running after money, trying to earn more, save more, impress more, but they never truly become wealthy. That's because wealth is not the same as money. Money is a tool, a measure, a temporary medium of exchange. But wealth is something deeper. Wealth is ownership. Wealth is freedom. Wealth is the ability to do what you want when you want without needing permission. And the paradox is, the more you chase money directly, the further away true wealth often gets. People who chase money tend to trade their time for it, over and over again. They sell their hours, their energy, their peace of mind often to people or systems that don't value them fully. And while the paychecks might come, the sense of freedom never does. Because no amount of money can buy freedom if you're still mentally and emotionally trapped. True wealth is not built by desperately working for every dollar. It's built by creating something once that continues to generate value while you sleep. That means building systems, owning equity, investing in assets, things that work for you even when you're not working. But most people aren't taught this. They're taught to hustle, to grind, to sacrifice their best years just to one day retire and maybe live. The problem is that day rarely comes, because when you live in survival mode, constantly chasing money, you never stop to question whether the game itself is broken, and often it is. You can't escape a trap by running faster inside it. You have to step back, understand how the system works, and start building something that isn't dependent on constant effort. And here's where it gets even deeper. Just like you can't heal while holding hands with the one who hurt you, you can't build lasting wealth while being emotionally attached to the very system that's been draining you. If you work for a paycheck but despise your work, that resentment eats away at your creativity. If you fear losing your job more than you trust your own skills, you become dependent, and dependence is the enemy of wealth. Wealth requires independence of thought, courage to walk away, and belief that you can create value without permission. Some people stay stuck in toxic environments, toxic jobs, toxic managers, toxic expectations because they believe that's the only way to survive. But you can't build something meaningful while constantly being drained. Just like healing requires distance from what hurt you, building wealth requires distance from what limits you. That doesn't mean quitting recklessly. It means starting to reclaim your time, your attention, your learning. It means building leverage, skills that are rare and valuable, tools that multiply your output, platforms that amplify your voice. You can chase money for decades and still feel broke. But if you spend a few years building systems that serve others, products that solve real problems, or investing in things that grow over time, you start to shift from chasing to attracting. That's the real difference. Wealthy people don't chase. They attract by becoming valuable, by owning things that grow, by positioning themselves where opportunities flow to them, not away from them. And just like in healing, there's a letting go required. Letting go of the need to impress others, letting go of short-term comfort, letting go of the belief that your worth is tied to your salary or your job title. When you stop measuring your life by income and start measuring it by freedom, creativity, and peace of mind, wealth begins to form around you, not instantly, not loudly, but surely and quietly, like roots growing underground before the tree ever shows above the surface. You have to let go of the mindset that kept you chasing, because that mindset is often rooted in fear of not having enough, of not being enough. But the truth is, you're not here to be a cog in someone else's machine forever. You're here to build your own, and that starts when you step back, learn deeply, create patiently, and invest wisely, not just in assets, but in yourself. Real wealth doesn't come from chasing money. It comes from chasing meaning, mastery, and momentum, from letting go of what keeps you small, so you can rise into who you were meant to be. You can't build wealth while clinging to what keeps you dependent. Just like healing, the first step is letting go. You don't get love by demanding it. Love isn't something you can force, control, or convince someone to give you. It's not earned by begging, by bending, or by constantly proving your worth to someone who doesn't see it. The harder you try to make someone love you, the more you lose touch with the kind of love you truly need, love that is given freely, not out of obligation or pressure, but out of genuine connection, respect, and care. Real love doesn't need to be begged for. It arrives on its own, where it's safe, where it's seen, where both hearts meet equally. The truth is, most people who demand love are really asking to be seen, to be chosen, to be healed by someone else's approval. They think that if they're good enough, quiet enough, helpful enough, or loyal enough, maybe the person who constantly overlooks or hurts them will finally turn around and offer them what they've been craving. But that's not love, that's survival, that's the wound speaking, and you can't build a healthy relationship from that place. Love that's demanded never lasts because it was never rooted in freedom. It was rooted in fear. You can't force someone to see you clearly if they're committed to misunderstanding you. You can't teach someone how to value you while you're still trying to prove you're worth loving, and you absolutely cannot heal while holding hands with the one who hurt you. As long as you stay emotionally tied to the person who caused your pain, you keep reopening the same wound, hoping it will feel different this time, but it won't. Love cannot grow where you are constantly shrinking yourself to be accepted. We often stay in relationships far past their expiration date, hoping that if we just hold on a little longer, try a little harder, they'll change. But trying harder doesn't make someone love you right. Staying longer doesn't make someone finally respect you. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself is to walk away from the very thing you thought you couldn't live without, not because you stopped loving them, but because you finally started loving yourself. You don't get love by chasing it, you get it by becoming it, by being so whole within yourself that you no longer settle for half-hearted efforts or conditional affection. You stop trying to convince people to care. You stop justifying mistreatment, you stop begging for the bare minimum and start demanding nothing but deserving everything, and the kind of love that shows up when you do that is the kind that doesn't require performing. It feels like peace, not tension. It feels like truth, not confusion. Love is not pain. Love is not anxiety. Love is not waking up every day wondering if you're too much or not enough. If you have to constantly explain your worth, it's not love, it's a transaction. If you have to question whether they care, it's not love, it's attachment. And attachment is often confused with love, especially when we're healing from old wounds. But love doesn't hurt like that. Love holds. Love honors, love grows. You don't get love by demanding it from others. You receive love when you become the kind of person who no longer demands it at all. Not because you've given up, but because you've given it to yourself. You've filled the gaps, you've healed the part of you that believed you had to earn love through pain. That's where the shift happens, when you no longer look for someone to save you, but instead build a life so full and so true that love becomes a bonus, not a lifeline. Letting go of someone who couldn't love you the way you needed isn't giving up on love. It's giving love the space to arrive in its right form. It's making room for the love that doesn't confuse, doesn't withhold, doesn't manipulate. But that can only happen when you stop holding hands with the one who hurt you, emotionally, mentally, even if not physically. Healing begins where you end the cycle, where you stop explaining, stop chasing, stop demanding, and instead start receiving. You don't get love by demanding it. You get it by becoming love, living in truth, choosing peace, and no longer entertaining what costs you all three.